What's good, everyone? Thanks very much for checking out the first episode of the Octagon MMA podcast. Unfortunately, you'll notice as you go through this episode that Brian's audio had a little bit of a technical problem. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to resolve that in post, but never fear, it will be corrected for future episodes. We've resolved what the cause of the issue was, and it will be perfect moving forward. We appreciate you checking the episode out, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I hope you enjoy the episode.
Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Welcome to the very first episode of the Octagon MMA podcast, brought to you by Combat Sports UK. I'm Lewis Glover, and I am joined by the voice of Octagon MMA and the face of Octagon Challenge, Mr. Bryan Lacey. How you doing, man?
I feel like giving me the face of it is not exactly doing the 8 guys that have smashed each other up justice, but I'll take it, mate. I'll take what I can get at 44 years of age.
I don't know, man. If we do a total screen time counter, I think you're pretty up there. You're doing a very good job of hosting, facing fighters off, announcing fights. You're doing everything.
Yeah, it's a dream job, mate. I was out there for my birthday, so I turned 44 when I was out there, Slovakia. And everyone was like, "Oh, you're working on your birthday." And I was looking around. I was in a gym watching. It was a fight day as well, getting ready for the guys to fight, filming, doing all the bits and all the craziness that goes on it. And I'm like, no, this is the birthday present. This is what, if I'd said to myself 10 years ago I'd be doing that, that would have been a magic answer.
No doubt at all. And, belated happy returns. You don't look a day over 43. So you got that going for you as well.
Are we allowed to swear?
Yeah, well, full steam ahead.
No, we're good.
So, mate, we got to start with Octagon Challenge, because this is what everyone is talking about right now. You can't miss it if you log on to YouTube. It's on Channel 4 in the UK. And if you haven't seen it, first of all, pause this, go away and watch the first 3 episodes. Do yourself a favor. Sit yourself down with a nice brew and some snacks. It is sensational. What has the experience been like for you, being a part of it and seeing it from inside the machine and seeing these fights up close and personal?
Well, first of all, it is a dream job, like being in the midst of it all, seeing how it all unfolds. The 8 guys as well that we brought over, the 4 from each team, Team England, Team Ireland, were phenomenal. Like, they gave everything, and they realized the size of the opportunity. But on top of that, the first thing I said when me, Pavel, and Andre was talking about bringing Octagon to the UK, they said, we always do this show, and they explained it to me, and they explained how it worked, and I was like, perfect. And they were like, what do you mean? I said, if you put any country against England, everyone hates England. Scotland, England, Wales, England, Northern, like you put.
I can't think why.
No, we listen, but they didn't understand it, because obviously their series has primarily been Czechoslovakia versus Slovakia, which are side by side. But there is rivalry, but there's a brotherhood there. There used to be Czechoslovakia, so there's it's for them to see it and witness it, and then to unfold the way it has been. It's been madness. But I always knew, as soon as you put, and again. From my side, because I'm Irish and English, to have both of those there represented in the challenge at the forefront, showcasing the level, the skill, the personalities. It was great, and I know we're only on episode 3, but it gets crazy. It gets crazy already. They've had. They put, I don't know if you've watched the first episode or second episodes, there's a bit where the St. George's flag is laid over a toilet. I'm not going to tell you what is under that flag. They couldn't show it on the screen, but one of the Irish lads had definitely had plenty of fiber that day. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, you can just tell the tensions are building and bubbling. There's so many characters, and I must admit, pleasantly surprised at the quality of the fights as well, considering for many of these guys, they've only just begun or even just starting out their professional mixed martial arts journey as well. And there can only be one winner of this competition, but certainly you can see many guys who are going to have a bright future in mixed martial arts, and probably with Octagon MMA as well, if things play out right for them. And the most recent fight was an absolute beauty in episode 3.
Oh my god! I got goosebumps thinking about it now. So, spoiler alert: if you haven't seen it, I'll give you 3 seconds to disappear before I tell you what the actual fight was. There's your 3 seconds. George Staines taking on the boogeyman Matthew Elliott. Now, this is, technically and even pedigree-wise, as far as the assets, the accolades they've already achieved in amateur MMA, as well as Matty Elliott in judo and wrestling. He's a beast, mate. He is a beast. He gave me one hug on the thing where he did the full Gable grip and the squeeze, and it was insane. I mean, he's a 145-pound fighter, 155-pound fighter, and it's just insane. So skill-wise, these two matching up and coming together at this point as well, the opening fight for them to see if they move forward was for me one that technically it's a joy. It's a joy to see them match up, and then the fight as well. The whole battle was, could Matty Elliott get George Staines down, and he got the first takedown. Then George reversed it, and then you have these 2 armbars, and I'm sat in between Pavel and Andre, and I unfortunately have seen broken arms happen in the cage. I've seen broken legs, and it hyperextended to the point, where I was watching, but I'm like, I'm going to have to turn away in a second because that's going to snap at the elbow or the forearm. And somehow he got it out, and then straight away Matty Elliott switched his hips and he's on the other arm, and you're just like, oh my God. And I thought, that's got to be damaged. That has got to be, it's certainly impeded in some way because of the tightness and the power of Matthew Elliott. I thought that's a wrap, but he pulled the arm out, and then it looked like George was dominating, and then you get to the 3rd round, and Matthew he looks like a broken man, and then he does that switch where he suddenly turns it around, and you're like, this is why these shows are so exciting. This is why that level of MMA in the UK and in Ireland is so high. Look at the quality of these young athletes. And Pavel and Andre said they've done 7 seasons, including this one, across the 3 territories, so Slovakia and Czech Republic, Germany, and now UK and Ireland. And the level of fighter that we have brought to this one is way above anything they've ever seen, especially when you think about where they are in their careers. Mm-hmm. Some turning pro, some with 1 or 2 pro fights. So that for me to get the nod from those 2 where they said, oh my God, these guys are different. Like that tells me where UK Irish MMA is.
100%. They've got the skills, and clearly both of these young men have the mental fortitude, will, and sheer determination to go on and achieve great success throughout their professional careers. And I do think pre-fight testing needs to be expanded to maybe like, have you got bionic arms? What have you had done to your elbows? Because I can't imagine any other way that old Georgie boy survived those arm bars. It was absolutely outrageous.
He's built different, mate. And I don't know if I can't remember if they showed the bit where after the fight again, because I watched it with, and this is the great thing as well, I got to watch it with my wife, and she doesn't really watch MMA or fighting, but she's watching these shows, which is the whole purpose. When I'm working and I can hear her giggling, I look and she's got either Stage to the Cage on or Octagon Challenge. So we watched this episode when it came out. We sat down, we were watching it together, and I can't remember if there's a bit where, because George is obviously so humble, he's very geeky, openly admits that's his life, Star Wars, Lego, and then he does what he does in the cage. And there's a bit where he came over after the fight and he pushed his face up against the cage, like straight after, still full of adrenaline, this is before the decision had been sort of given, and he's pushing his face through, looking at Pavel and Andre going, you'll know my name, George Staines, you'll know my, and it's just like, whoa, where did this guy come from?
Yeah, it's like a junkyard dog.
Oh my God, yeah. It's like, down, boy, down.
Absolutely incredible. And the amazing thing about Octagon Challenge, if you're watching it, if you're getting familiar with the fighters, of course, the finale is going to be held in Manchester on Octagon's foray debut into the UK. And not only is Octagon Challenge the only place that you can get your content and whet your appetite and get yourself to an unbelievable level of excitement for what is sure to be a sensational event, but we've also got Stage to the Cage as well. And very different, 2 guys who are not fighters, but my goodness, the work that they're putting in, they are truly doing the hard yards. And of course, we're talking about Jake Quickenden and Paul Smith, it's so impressive to watch from the outside.
In fact, let me find it. Let me find this message because, like you said, it is so impressive to watch from the outside and being inside it sometimes. So filming with them or setting this whole thing up, like meeting them and, just talking through what the project was, how long it would be, what the idea of it was. And straight away, they both got it now. They're both MMA fans. Jake has boxed. He's done an amateur boxing celebrity fight before. Paul has done a little bit of jiu-jitsu and he's been in and around the world of MMA, but they are big fans. So one of the things that they truly understood is how difficult the sport was. So when we talked about it, and I remember I phoned Paul Smith and I actually hadn't met him before. We'd both been on the circuit. I was down south, he was up north, and we'd never really crossed paths. Got nothing to do with the fact that I was doing working men's clubs and he was doing arenas. Nothing to do with that. But I phoned him and I spoke to him, and again, he's just such a great guy. I spoke to him and he went instantly, you're going to ask me to fight, aren't you? And I was like, I'd be interested to see if you want to fight. And he just literally told me to F off, and that in a nice way, just jokey way.
Yeah.
And then I kept teasing him, kept sending him little promos. I sent him that Carlos Vemola walkout where he's on the throne with the fireworks and the crowd going crazy. And he called me, he went, "You got me. That is it. You got me." He said, "But, what's the time frame?" He said, "Because what I don't want to do," and the same with Jake, is just do 6 weeks training and look like an absolute idiot, because I don't want to do the sport injustice. So when we told him it was 10 months, he was like, "I'm in. I can get, I can get to a level at that." And the same with Jake. He didn't want to, look ridiculous or not represent the sport very well. And what they're doing, like they went 100 miles an hour. When I talked to the guys in and around it, even their coaches, they can't believe how they're training 2-3 times a day on top of doing, Jake's hosting TV shows. He's at the minute doing the Full Monty live tour. So that's been rehearsals for that. And now he's in Buxton at the minute. That's a 7-month tour. So I've done theatre before. It's exhausting. It's physically, but he's still doing the sessions. He does one in the morning, then he'll try and get another one in. If not, he just works out in his hotel room. Paul is doing his arena gigs as well as, picking up sessions with people around the country, whether it's, John Kavanagh when he was in Ireland or anybody else that he can. And again, he's so well connected and so are we, that we can link him up with these amazing gyms, Dan Hardy, Jimmy Wallhead, those type of people. And they're still doing this all alongside training to fight each other in the cage. And what I love about this program is you get their personalities, you get to see their work ethic, you get to see, the type of people that do MMA when they're in the gym, that camaraderie, the type of person, the coaches, the level of, support, intelligence. It debunks that whole myth that cage fighters are meatheads. And we got 100%. We got one comment, and the comments have been phenomenal. I'm trying to find it because it's summed it up. This is it. This is from somebody who's just watched the show. He said, "I genuinely think this has been the best television program to represent modern MMA. It's moved away from the shock and awe of violence, which is typically over-dramatized. It shows the hard-working community of people who support one another. Less about pain and bad blood, more about honest graft and honing skills. Well done." That's it, right? That's what we want. That's what we want to show people. And for us to have Jake and Paul, because it would be crazy if you had them both like big names, but only one really trained and the other one kind of just did it to, get some Instagram or have the experience. But they're both going 100 miles an hour. And I say it so often, I'm so proud of them. I'm in awe of them. And whatever the result, I think, just the journey they've been on is monumental.
Yeah, that's it. And both of these guys are so incredibly successful in their own right. They're not doing this because they need the money or the exposure or because it's some influencer type boxing 6-week camp kind of thing and they can dip their toe in and get back out. This is incredibly inspiring to watch two people who are willing to put themselves at the very bottom of something, try something new when they've reached the top of the game in their respective careers. Incredibly motivating, and it certainly helps me get off me fat ass on the couch and go to the gym and move a few weights around. It's the least I can do. I'm a bit tired after sitting at a desk all day. It's bloody hell. It's awesome. It's awesome to see. And if you haven't checked it out, I highly encourage you to go and do so. It's on YouTube. It's on Channel 4. It's on Channel 4. Streaming service. So very, very easy to find. And is that going to be the main event in Manchester, or how's that going to shake out? It's not been decided yet. Oh.
There's more to come, my
There's
friend.
more to come.
There is more to come. All I will say is stay on your social media over the next few days, because there's something I'm very excited about. And obviously we got the Jake and the Paul. We're going to find out who's going to be in the finale of Octagon Challenge. We're going to have other fights that obviously we can't announce from Octagon Challenge that would give away what happens further down the line. Of course. And there's a cherry on top. That's all I'll say. Okay. I look forward to hearing that. And I think it's kind of obvious that we've decided to get together, Combat Sports UK, Octagon MMA, to put this podcast together to celebrate and announce the arrival of Octagon into the UK. Oh, but we got something nice on tap before we get there. We don't need to hurry, because it's gonna come, and we got something else next weekend. Octagon 47, Vemola versus Langer from Bratislava. Oh, if you know anything about these guys, or if you know nothing about these guys or any of the people fighting on this card, do yourself a favor, tune in and watch it, because it's going to be absolutely brilliant. Because in the main event, we have got the light heavyweight unification between the reigning champion, the interim champion, the legend of Czech MMA, the first Czech fighter in the UFC, started a legacy to be carried on by many other fighters. And he's getting out there to prove that he is still the top dog and the rightful champion at light heavyweight. Brian, tell people what they need to know about this fight. Oh, dude, this is the fight we didn't know we wanted, because you got Carlos Vemola, who took that light heavyweight championship back in the Stranica, which is a July event last year. And since then, he has been on the journey to try and get, he had a grudge match with Patrick Kinsale, tried to claim the middleweight title. That was unsuccessful. And it looked like, he's going to take some time away, but that is not Carlos Vemola. He did one fight going back up from middleweight back in July, a year since he won that title. And then in that period that he's been out, Pavel Langer, who is the unexpected interim champ, he is this unique personality. They've taken him to his hearts. He's a Slovakian, so you've got that Czech versus Slovakia rivalry, but he is just different. He never believed in his wildest dreams, and this is his words, not mine, that he would ever be at the point where his MMA was a hobby. MMA has been this hobby, and he's had some good wins, he's had some good fights, he's had some losses, but he put it all together against Popek in Oberhausen, and he was a massive underdog, to take this light heavyweight title. And this unique person, this giant, and he is a giant for light heavyweight, he's massive. If you watch the stare down between him and Vemola, he's so quirky, he's so insular, he's got a job which he can't really talk about. He works for the police special forces, so he does the IT and the background and all that. So he's like this mysterious guy, but the most humble, from a tiny little village, a quiet personality. And then on the flip side, you've got Carlos Vemola, the Conor McGregor of the Czech Republic. This is a guy who's been in the limelight his entire professional career. This is a guy who, trash talks. Sometimes he wins the fight before anyone gets in the cage. And he's just different. They're so different, these people and personalities, that they're physically so different. They fight very differently as well. And it's just one of these fights you have to watch now, because does Langer prove to everyone this wasn't a fluke? Does he keep it? Does he make that belt truly his? And if he does that, does that mean the end for Vemola? Because that would be 2 losses this year, and he hasn't lost since prior to that, since Octagon 15 against Attila Vey, when he tried to first claim that light heavyweight belt. And everybody's questioning him. He does miraculous things. He's getting old. His body is already had major issues with, physically, anatomically. He's got issues where the doctors have told him he shouldn't fight anymore, yet he still does these crazy, amazing things. So will it be the return of the true Vemola? Will that be him going, do you know what, that middleweight, that weight cut, I wasn't right for that? Mm-hmm. Or does Pavel Langer suddenly go to everyone, this is my belt, and now you better believe it as much as I do?
Yeah, there's only one way to find out, and that is by tuning in. Moving on to the co-main event, we have Ivan Buchinger against Yakob Donal, and I'm going to get these pronunciations down eventually. They're a little bit difficult for someone who's discovering some of these fighters.
It. That was it.
Okay,
yeah, Ivan
okay.
Buchinger, and Yakob Donal. That's it. You nailed it, mate.
Beautiful,
you have my
beautiful.
job. Take it.
Well, Bucky, he is a absolute submission whiz. Just go down his resume, and he's got every sub you can possibly think of. He has 24 professional wins by way of submission. Not fights, not wins by submission. He is the former featherweight champion in Octagon and Cage Warriors. Tremendous record of taking on Europe's best. And Donal doesn't have this huge record, the fighting the who's who, but he's younger, he's hungry, and Bucky would be an absolute massive feather in his cap as he looks to move ahead in this division. What are your thoughts on this one?
This is again. You got to watch this fight and just wait for the walkout of Ivan Buchinger. He is a national hero of Slovakia. I mean, he's Hungarian and Slovakian, but that's his home. He trains at that Spartacus fight gym with Attila Vey. He's the first ever double champ for Octagon. He lost that lightweight belt to Lozen Keita, then relinquished the featherweight belt when he had to go for I believe it was knee or shoulder operation, but he returned in the Stranica this year, and that was in the Czech Republic. And they did the weigh-ins they did Friday night and Saturday night, back-to-back events. And so the Friday night they did the weigh-ins, stare-downs in the arena, which was good. It was okay until Buchinger stepped up. And you're talking about a Slovakian in Czech Republic, and the noise for that guy was insane. So it has been 2 years since he's fought in front of his home crowds. 2 years since he claimed the lightweight belt to become the double champ against Wojtek Boboric. And now he's returning. So for me, don't just watch the fight. Watch how they welcome this hero. This will be his 49th professional walk to the cage. 40 victories, 33 finishes, like you said, 24 by submission. And he's faced everybody. He's always faced tough competition. But Yakob Donal won his last fight and called him out. And he called him out in Bratislava. He was in the cage after beating Callum Mullen, one of the UK's rising prospects. And he called him out, and Buchinger said, you don't do that in my hometown. You don't get to say that in my city. And so he's going to quite happily give up that experience thing and not even look at the records and say, if you think you got it, kid, let's go. So it's a great fight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You've just looking, having seen some previous fights, and then you look at the record, you get excited, but that just
wait for the welcome. I mean, this is one of the great things about Octagon, and it's, you can have stars and you can have great fighters, but when you tell the story and when you see fans truly take these, heroes, these warriors to their heart, like they cheer them in a different way. And this is good for both sides. Like, you can become a hero. Jeremy Kimball, who's from North America and nothing to do with Slovakia, if he goes to fight in Bratislava, his pop from the crowd because of who he is and the fights he's had in that city and the story they've told about him is ridiculous. Now I'm very excited about the light heavyweight unification bout, of course, but just to see Ivan Buchinger, and it's a bucket list thing for me to see him walk out in Bratislava. You watch, everyone will be on their feet, and I just hope it comes across on the screen, because I already know that is going to be one of the moments of the year for me.
You have to tune in to experience it. I'm very excited, Brian. You got me absolutely on a knife edge for it. We can't go through every fight on the card because there's just too many, and we don't have time. But there's a few more that we want to highlight and bring to your attention. Say absolutely, make sure you don't miss these ones. We do have a top 5 battle between Mateusz Ledierski and Karol
Rysavy. I'll take
Rysavy. Thank you, Karol Rysavy. And Ledierski is a former Octagon champ. He went over. He had a little dabble in KSW, which you can understand, being a
Polish fighter. Yeah,
a Polish fighter. Of course, that's one of the pinnacles for someone from Poland, but he is looking for a statement win to put him in a position for a shot at Keita's belt to come back and take what is his. This fight has got all kinds of narrative around it as well. It's almost like every fight's got a ton of narrative around it. It's like it's done on purpose.
It's like it's planned, mate, isn't it?
It's almost like it's planned.
Can you imagine? All they do is pull fights out of a hat, and this is what we end up with.
This fight is going to be going to be excellent. And another one I just wanted to highlight and get your take on it is we've got Lukasz Siewicz. He's taking on the highly touted Georgian prospect Amir Gogal, and there's a ton of hype on him right now, and he's riding this incredible wave of Georgian MMA, which is sweeping across all promotions, sweeping across the globe. We had Dagestan a few years ago, and now it's Georgia's time, and they are producing some absolutely outrageous talent. But Siewicz is absolutely capable in his own right, and his only loss in the last 4 years comes by way of split decision against the legend David Kozma. I mean, talk about an impressive record. And yeah, what do you think about this fight? We've got someone who's established. We've got a prospect coming to take his name, to take his hype. Tell people what they need to know about this one.
Yeah, this is a great fight. Gogaladze is that good. He really is that good and all round. Georgian MMA is on the rise, and I've had the pleasure of calling fights in Georgia. And one of the things when I first went out there, in fact, I called. There we go. Why have I forgotten his name? Mate Sanakidze. I called his first ever pro fight in Georgia. And it was, that was the eye opener for me. And I spoke to them about, these amateurs, and they've got such a huge amateur scene out there. These interclubs always happen. They have huge records. You can find amateurs with records of like 36-7 or 20-40 or whatever. So they can have a lot of fights before. So that testing ground is what I think they're paying the dividends of now. I think this is where Georgian MMA the foundations have been laid properly. And Gogaladze is one of these fighters. He is well-rounded, nicknamed the Sniper. He's particularly good with his strikes. We saw that against Liam Etabar, who's a world-class Muay Thai fighter as long as an MMA fighter. And he's a wrestler as well, because that's part of the culture over there in Georgia. So you're getting these great mix of fighters. You've got Sanakidze already there. Gogaladze. For me, the one to watch is Nico Samsonidze. He is the German featherweight, and I think he is as perfect of a package for, competing in the cage as you can get. So Georgian MMA is flying. But then you got Siewicz on the other side, this Polish powerhouse, nicknamed Brutal. And he fought John Hathaway in his last fight. And we all know how good John Hathaway is with his wrestling, with his grappling. That is his base. He is also renowned for being so strong. I've been at London Shoot Fighters. I've been there while they've trained. And every time you talk to people, they say, first of all, it's his cardio. But then also, he's just such a strong dude. And I saw him in the airport after the Siewicz fight. He lost that by unanimous decision, lost every single round. And he said, no one's ever handled me like that. Nobody has ever been able to handle me like that. So the whole thing will be, can the Sniper keep it at that sniper range? Or can Siewicz impose that power that we saw him use against Hathaway? But either way, this welterweight division in Octagon is on fire.
It certainly is. And as I said before, there's so many fights on this card, and you're gonna get bang for your buck when you tune in and watch this and invest your Saturday night on it. And if that wasn't enough, if that didn't get you excited enough, sometimes cards can open with a little bit of a fizzle. No. We're gonna set things off the right way with a Muay Thai fight. Like, what's going on?
Well, this story behind this one is Lucia Svabova is returning. So she is the silent killer. She's 6-0 in MMA, but Muay Thai is where she made her mark, where she became famous, and she's phenomenal. But she's taken a little break and started a beautiful family. So she had 2 years away. She's had a baby, and she has returned to action now. And basically, this is the first fight back in Octagon. I think she's had a Muay Thai fight outside of that. But she's on her way back to coming into the mixed martial arts realm again. Obviously, when you think about what females' bodies go through, the change, the transformation they take physically, skeletally, it's ridiculous. And for her to come back, and everything that I've heard is that she's on fire in the gym. And it's not going to open the card anymore. We're going to bump it up there because of the popularity, the response it's had online, and since it's been announced, it's going further up. So again, another one of those walkouts to watch will be Lucia Svabova. She returns the competition.
Brilliant. Look forward to it. Well, Tapology, I know your editors will be tuning in, so get that bout order updated. And right, yeah, this is going to be a great card. And if you are thinking about going to Manchester, if you're seeing Octagon on your TV on Channel 4 for the first time and wondering what all this is about, I cannot encourage you any stronger to just go ahead, tune in next Saturday night. What day are we working with? Let's be specific for the people here.
7th of October.
The 7th of October.
And it's not at 3 a.m., mate. This is fights you can watch. It kicks off 5 o'clock in the UK and Ireland. You're not waiting up till 3:36 a.m. for the main event. Have your tea, grab a couple of beers, stick the fights on. Just press that button on Channel 4. That's how easy it is now. And you can join us to watch what I think is going to be, one of the atmospheres of the year as well as one of the cards of the year.
Without doubt. And it will certainly let you know what Octagon is all about. Because I remember the first time I saw just a clip on social media of Octagon and I went, holy shit, what is that? I need to know more. And I dove in head first, and I have barely missed a card since that. But it's awesome. It's more than mixed martial arts. It's an entire show. It's an entire production. It's just spectacular. So do yourself a favor, tune in, whet your appetite for Manchester, get on Watch Stage to the Cage, catch up on Octagon Challenge. There is so much going on right now. You do not want to miss any of it. Bryan, this has been sensational. I want to thank you for stepping up to the plate and doing this with us. And I can't wait to do this again when we get to talk about Manchester and everything we've got coming up with that.
Yeah. Next time you might even know what the big announcement is, mate, as well. So we'll wait, we'll tease that. But appreciate it, mate. Thank you for following Octagon. Again, I think it's for fans when especially if you're an MMA fan, that first taste of an Octagon event and you just feel the difference between some of the others, especially that live experience. I think that is where people are going to, really fall in love, as they have done in Germany, as they have done in Slovakia and the Czech Republic. And I'm super excited, mate. Manchester's coming quick and it can't come quick enough.
Couldn't agree more. Thanks very much, Bryan. Speak to you next time.
Take care.